Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today, we are unpacking something absolutely massive, Apple's giant leap into agentic AI announced at WWDC 2026. Let's get right into it. So let's just ask the elephant in the room, the big question on literally every Apple user's mind right now. Does this update finally make Siri, well, useful? For years, Siri has kind of been the punchline of our tech jokes. But with iOS 27 rolling out, we are looking at a completely new reality for our daily digital lives. All right, here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll meet the new Siri AI. Then, we'll look at the foundation models powering it. Third, we'll uncover Apple's secret weapon, adapters. And finally, we'll wrap up with Gemini and the broader ecosystem. Okay, Section 1. Meet the new Siri AI. We are talking about the transition from a simple voice assistant to a true task executor. Siri's big transformation basically boils down to four main pillars. First up is personal context understanding, meaning Siri securely taps into your emails, messages, and files. Then we have broad world knowledge, so it acts much more like the advanced chatbots we've all gotten used to. Third is on-screen awareness. Guys, this is a total game changer. Siri can literally see what you're looking at on your screen and act on it. And finally, app actions, where Siri actually clicks through and uses your apps on your behalf. No way, right? To put this magic trick into perspective, think about a recent test by tech reviewer Mark Ellis. He casually asked Siri for his passport number. Now, normally, that just trigger a useless web search, right? But instead, Siri instantly found the secure data by pulling it straight out of a photo in his camera roll and cross-referencing it with an old notes file. Absolutely zero manual searching required. What's really wild here is that Siri now keeps this persistent context across your entire digital life, without you ever having to explicitly say, hey, search in this specific app. In another test, Ellis just vaguely asks Siri to find something his dad mentioned about an iPad, and boom, Siri instantly pulled up a weeks-old text message. It just effortlessly connects the dots across your whole ecosystem.
Moving on to Section 2, Powering Siri Foundation Models. Let's peek under the hood of Apple Intelligence.
So how does Apple pull off this crazy balance of speed and privacy? Well, they use two totally distinct foundation language models. First, there's the AFM on-device model. This one runs entirely locally, meaning it gives you ultra-fast responses and keeps your private data locked down right there on your hardware. But for tasks that need a bit more heavy lifting, Apple hands things off to the AFM server, which is a much larger model running in their super secure private cloud compute environment.
3 billion. That's the massive parameter size of the AFM on-device model. It was custom-built to run efficiently right in your pocket. By using some incredibly advanced compression, we're talking quantization down to under 4 bits per weight, Apple somehow managed to squeeze a highly capable 3 billion parameter brain into the memory limits of an iPhone. And the best part? It doesn't absolutely destroy your battery life.
Behind the scenes, Apple uses a super rigorous pipeline that is totally obsessed with high-quality data. By painstakingly filtering web pages, code, and math datasets, they're heavily prioritizing data quality over sheer quantity. And here's the privacy kicker. They strictly strip out personally identifiable information before it ever even reaches the pre-training phase. They are baking privacy in from step one. Now, gluing all this together is the orchestration engine. You can kind of think of it as the ultimate traffic cop. It seamlessly routes your request on the fly. Say it needs to check your calendar, it'll keep that request entirely on device. But if the prompt requires some heavy-duty reasoning, it'll securely push that request over to private cloud compute. It's totally seamless. All right, Section 3, the secret weapon, adapters. Let's talk about these swappable brain modules. So how does Siri actually manage so many different tasks without completely draining your battery or eating up all your RAM? Well, instead of loading up a massive new model every single time you wanted to, say, write an email or summarize a web page, Siri uses LoRa adapters. Think of them like swappable toolbelts that temporarily give the main foundation model highly specialized skills. These things are tiny, just tens of megabytes, so they can be instantly loaded into memory, used for the task, and then tossed out in just a fraction of a second. And because of this clever setup, the architecture preserves all the general knowledge of the base model while guaranteeing the operating system stays snappy and responsive. The core 3 billion parameter foundation model stays completely frozen. You literally just snap on a new lightweight adapter for whatever specific action you need in that exact moment. It's kind of genius, really. Which brings us to Section 4, Gemini and the ecosystem. We're going to see how Apple is expanding the AI horizon here. Apple is actually taking a really interesting multi-model approach here. You aren't just locked into one single cloud provider. You can actually leverage Google's Gemini right alongside Apple's own native infrastructure. So if your request goes beyond what Apple's models can handle, or if you specifically want Gemini's multimodal reasoning, the system can seamlessly route your prompt over to Google's Tier 1 models. Honestly, it's a huge win for user choice. And for the power users out there, you are going to love the new AI shortcuts. They essentially transform those old, rigid, deterministic scripts into lightweight AI agents. All you do is describe what you want in plain English. Just imagine dictating something like, summarize my unread weekend emails and drop the notes into Notion. Apple Intelligence will actually evaluate those conditions and build out a multi-step automation right on the fly.
This is exactly why the new Actions API is an absolute must for developers right now. Look, if a third-party app doesn't register its specific actions, Siri simply won't know what it's capable of doing, and it's going to get totally left behind by these new orchestration features. Pretty soon, we aren't going to be tapping through countless menus anymore. We're just going to tell Siri to do the whole shebang for us.
So as these on-device models, swappable adapters, and multimodal ecosystems all start converging, what is the future of our daily digital workflows actually going to look like? I'll leave you to ponder that one, because it's pretty clear this agentic leap is just step one in a completely transformed operating system. The days of rigid manual app navigation are definitely fading fast. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep exploring.